Hi guys, welcome back to Felix BL Stories channel. I hope you enjoy this new story. The fourth bedroom was drawn in blue ink across the back of the contract that was supposed to destroy our band. Silas Vane had slammed that contract onto the tour bus table 10 seconds earlier and told me I had until midnight to surrender every song Micah and I had ever written. Jonah Reed stood on my left, silent and rigid in a black shirt with the sleeves rolled to his elbows. Marcus Cole stood on my right, broad shoulders blocking the bus door, while 3 security guards waited outside. Both alphas had signed our original management agreement 6 months before. Now the document in front of us claimed they had secretly pledged our catalog to cover a debt of nearly $2 million. My Omega partner, Micah Lane, stared at the forged signatures for a long moment. Then he turned over the final page. There were 4 bedrooms on his new bus plan. One had my name written above it. One belonged to Micah. The other 2 were marked Jonah and Marcus. Between them, Micah had drawn a shared living room with 4 chairs around a square table. Jonah looked at the blueprint and went completely still. Marcus stopped breathing loudly enough for me to notice. Silas smiled as if he had already won. I should have been thinking about the stolen money. I should have been thinking about the thousands of fans waiting outside the arena. Instead, I could only stare at those 4 rooms and wonder why Micah had planned a future I was still too frightened to believe in. Before I explain how 2 alpha managers became the greatest risk our band had ever taken, this is the YouTube-safe version of our story. The full uncut continuation, adult spicy scenes, 4 alternate POVs, real ending, and bonus epilogue are available on Patreon. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay with me, because the signature that nearly ended our careers was not the most dangerous thing hidden inside that contract. 6 months earlier, Micah and I were performing for 47 people in a basement that legally held 30. We called ourselves Frost Lane, because our surnames sounded better together than either of our first names. Our promotional photographs made us look mysterious. The truth was less impressive. We owned 2 acoustic guitars, 1 unreliable van, 3 microphone stands, and a portable speaker Micah had repaired with silver tape. I wrote most of our lyrics. Micah wrote melodies that could make a room full of strangers stop talking. When we sang together, our voices fitted so naturally that people assumed we had trained for years. We had not. We had met at a community music program when we were 21. Micah had been sitting alone in a rehearsal room, playing the same 4 chords until his fingers turned red. I had walked inside and told him the 2nd chord was wrong. He had looked up at me and said, "Then fix it." We had been arguing through songs ever since. By the night, everything changed. We were both 26. We were also $12,000 in debt. Our drummer, Priya Nair, knew the exact amount because she kept a spreadsheet none of us were allowed to touch. Priya was a beta with sharp eyes, perfect rhythm, and no patience for romantic disasters. She had joined Frost Lane after hearing us perform at a charity concert. 3 weeks later, she had taken control of our rehearsal schedule. 2 months after that, she had begun referring to herself as the only adult in the band. She was usually right. That night, she cornered us behind the basement stage, while a leaking pipe dripped into a plastic bucket. "We cannot keep doing this," Priya said. Micah wiped sweat from his forehead with the bottom of his shirt. Doing what? Accepting payment in free drinks and exposure. We received $40. 38, Priya corrected. The venue deducted $2 because Dylan broke a glass. The glass broke because their table collapsed. The accounting department does not recognize moral innocence. I leaned against the wall and tried not to breathe too deeply. The basement was crowded, overheated, and filled with competing scents. My suppressant patch was working, but stress always made my Omega scent harder to contain. Micah smelled faintly of honey and cedar when he was relaxed. I smelled like winter apples and smoke. At least that was how Micah described it. My ex-boyfriend, Caleb Ward, had once said, I smelled like a house fire in an orchard. Caleb had considered that a compliment. Caleb and I had dated for nearly 2 years before he decided loving another musician was inconvenient. He wanted stability. I wanted songs. He chose a corporate event singer with a reliable salary. I chose Micah, Priya, and a van that stalled whenever we turned left too sharply. Priya tapped her spreadsheet. We have one possible solution. No, I said immediately. I have not told you what it is. You used the word solution in that voice. What voice? The voice you use before suggesting something humiliating. Micah peered over her shoulder. His expression changed. Reed Cole music. I straightened. Everyone in the independent music scene knew Reed Cole. Jonah Reed was a producer who could hear a badly tuned instrument through 2 concrete walls. Marcus Cole handled tours, venue negotiations, and security. They were both alphas. They were not related by blood, despite the rumors. They had grown up in the same foster home, built their company together, and described each other as brothers whenever journalists asked why 2 dominant alphas had not torn their partnership apart. Jonah rarely smiled in photographs. Marcus smiled often enough for both of them. Their artists played real venues. Their tours made money. Their contracts were rumored to be fair. I trusted rumors about as much as I trusted basement plumbing. They do not sign unknown acoustic acts, I said. They are here, Priya replied. I thought she was joking. Then the scent hit me. It was controlled, restrained, and unmistakably alpha. One carried the dark fragrance of coffee, pine, and something metallic. The other was warmer, like amber, leather, and rain on sun-heated stone. The crowd behind us shifted. People stepped aside without being told. Jonah Reed walked through first. He was taller than I expected, with black hair combed away from a severe face. His dark eyes moved from the leaking pipe to our damaged speaker. Then they settled on me. Marcus followed him. He was nearly as tall but broader. His brown hair was slightly too long around his collar, and his expression held the kind of open warmth that made strangers confess things to him. Priya whispered, "Act professional." Micah whispered back, "Which one of us?" Neither, apparently. Jonah stopped in front of me. "You changed the bridge in the final song." It was not a greeting. I folded my arms. The original bridge was weak. The original bridge established the harmonic pattern. The audience was losing interest. 4 people were crying. They could have been crying because the basement smells like mold. Marcus covered a laugh with his fist. Jonah looked at him. Marcus immediately became serious. "I heard no laughter," he said. Jonah returned his attention to me. "You are Dylan Frost. You already knew that. I confirm information before using it. That sounds exhausting. It prevents mistakes." The words would return to haunt him. Micah stepped between us before I could ruin our only opportunity. "I am Micah Lane. This is Priya Nair. Thank you for coming." Marcus shook his hand. "We came because Priya sent us a recording." I turned toward Priya. "You sent them a recording?" "I sent 12 managers a recording. 11 rejected us. 8 did not reply. 2 suggested making Micah a solo artist. 1 wanted you to pretend to be brothers." Micah frowned. "We already tell people we are not brothers." "Exactly." Jonah looked between us. "What did the 12th say?" Priya nodded toward him. "The 12th came to a basement on a Thursday night." Marcus glanced at Jonah. "He complained the whole drive. The road was flooded. You complained before it began raining. The forecast was available." I should have found their rhythm irritating. Instead, I noticed how Marcus angled his body toward Jonah whenever someone approached from behind. I noticed how Jonah passed Marcus a clean handkerchief before Marcus realized water had dripped onto his shoulder. They had spent years learning each other's movements. Micah noticed too. I knew because his scent warmed beside me. Jonah removed a thin folder from his bag. "We want to offer you a development agreement." My heart jumped. I forced my expression to remain flat. What does development mean? It means 3 months of production support, professional recording, branding consultation, and supervised live bookings. And after 3 months? If the numbers support a full contract, we offer one. If they do not, you keep your music. That sounded too simple. What do you take? 15% of revenue generated through our work. Ownership? None. Publishing? None unless you separately hire our publishing department. Masters? You own them. Marcus leaned against the wall. He is waiting for you to find the trap. There is always a trap. There is always risk, Jonah corrected. A trap depends on deception. I opened the folder. The contract was only 6 pages. That made me more suspicious. I read every line while the basement emptied around us. Micah stood close enough for his arm to brush mine. Priya watched my face. Marcus answered questions about transport, accommodation, and safety. Jonah answered questions about recording rights. There was no transfer clause. There was no hidden option to replace one member of Frost Lane. There was no requirement for us to suppress our secondary genders in publicity. The final page included a handwritten addition. Artistic decisions require the written approval of both Dylan Frost and Micah Lane. I looked up. Who added this? Jonah met my eyes. I did. Why? Priya said 2 managers wanted Micah without you. My throat tightened. That happens. It will not happen here. Micah read the line twice. Marcus gave us a pen. Take the contract home. Jonah glanced at him. We agreed not to pressure them. I am giving them a pen, not surrounding them with wolves. You are an alpha standing between them and the exit. Marcus immediately stepped aside. The movement was so quick and unoffended that I noticed. He did not joke about omega sensitivity. He did not tell me his scent was under control. He simply cleared the door. Jonah noticed me noticing. Something changed in his expression. It was not softness. Jonah Reed did not become soft in public. It was recognition. He understood why the gesture mattered. I closed the folder. We will have a lawyer review it. Good, Jonah said. You are not offended? I would be offended if you signed without review. Marcus looked at Micah. What would convince you? Micah considered the question. A bus. I stared at him. We do not need a bus. Our van has no working heater. It has blankets. It has 1 blanket. Priya has another. Priya shook her head. My blanket is not a band asset. Marcus smiled. If you reach the full contract stage, I will find you a bus. Micah held out his hand. A bus with separate sleeping spaces. You negotiate quickly. I learned from Dylan. I had not taught him that. Micah had always been braver than people assumed. Marcus shook his hand. Jonah extended his hand to me. His fingers were long and calloused, probably from years of playing before he became a producer. I looked at his hand, then at his face. 3 months, I said. 3 months. I shook it. His scent tightened around him the second our skin touched. Not stronger. Tighter. He was restraining it. I wondered what he had smelled from me. His eyes lowered briefly toward my throat. Then he released me and stepped back. That was the first time Jonah Reed wanted something from me and chose restraint instead. It would not be the last. We took the contract to Elena Lane the next morning. Elena was Micah's mother. She had managed theaters for 30 years before retiring to run a small accounting service from her kitchen. She loved Micah with terrifying efficiency. She tolerated me because I had once driven through a snowstorm to bring him home. She distrusted every alpha who spoke too smoothly. Marcus survived her questions because he admitted when he did not know an answer. Jonah survived because he had brought printed insurance certificates. Elena read the agreement twice. Then she placed it on the kitchen table. It is fair. I searched her expression. That sounded painful. I was prepared to dislike them. You can still dislike Jonah personally. I do not dislike Jonah. He criticized your coffee. He measured the water temperature and improved it. Micah grinned. You like him. I respect his preparation. That is how you like people. Elena ignored him. The contract protects your ownership. It also allows either of you to terminate if Reed Cole materially misrepresents financial information. I tapped the clause. What counts as material? Anything that changes whether you would reasonably remain in the agreement. Like hidden debt. Exactly. The first warning was sitting on the table in front of us. None of us understood it yet. We signed that afternoon. Jonah signed first. His handwriting was narrow and precise. Marcus signed beneath him with a larger, sloping signature. Micah signed next. When he handed me the pen, his fingers trembled. You can say no, I told him. I know. We can keep playing basements. I know. We can fix the van. You cannot fix the van. I can learn. He looked at the two alphas across the table. Then he looked at me. I do not want to keep surviving songs when we could start living them. I signed. Priya photographed the final page. Elena made 4 copies. Marcus handed Micah a small metal key. Micah blinked. What is this? A promise. To what? A bus. You already bought one? No, that is the key to our equipment garage. Micah laughed. Marcus looked pleased with himself. Jonah looked embarrassed by association. 3 weeks later, we recorded our first professional single. Jonah produced it. Working with him was like arguing with a locked door until the door suddenly opened and revealed a cathedral. He heard everything. He heard when I breathed too early. He heard when Micah shifted his weight before a difficult note. He heard the quiet scrape of Priya's bracelet against a drumstick. He also heard fear. On the 4th night, I failed the same vocal line 7 times. Jonah stopped the recording. Leave the booth. I can do it again. No. You said we needed 1 clean take. We do. Then let me sing. Your throat is tightening. My throat is fine. You are forcing the upper register. I know my own voice. And I know what a damaged vocal cord sounds like. I ripped off my headphones. You do not get to decide when I stop. His jaw tightened. The studio filled with the first sharp edge of his alpha scent. He suppressed it almost immediately. You are right. I had prepared for a fight. His agreement left me unbalanced. Jonah pressed the talkback button. I do not get to decide. I am advising you to stop because continuing may injure you. The decision is yours. Micah watched through the booth window. Marcus had arrived with dinner and stood behind Jonah. Neither alpha moved toward me. Neither tried to dominate the room. I swallowed. My throat hurt. That made me angrier. I am stopping because I choose to. Jonah nodded. Understood. I walked out. Marcus offered me a bottle of water. I took it. He did not say I had made the right choice. He handed Micah a bag of noodles and asked Priya whether she had eaten. Later, while Marcus and Micah argued about hot sauce, Jonah found me alone in the equipment corridor. I frightened you, he said. You annoyed me. Both can be true. I looked away. He stood several feet from me. The corridor was narrow enough that his scent felt closer than his body. I spent years dealing with producers who treated Omega voices like replaceable equipment, I said. They would tell us when to sing, how to dress, when to take suppressants, and which alphas we were allowed to stand beside in photographs. I know. No, you know the policy version. You do not know what it feels like. You are right. You agree too easily. I am not agreeing to end the conversation. I am removing the argument you should not have to win. That silenced me. Jonah looked toward the studio. My responsibility is to make the strongest record possible without taking your choices from you. And if those goals conflict, your choice wins. Even if it costs money? Yes. Marcus would agree. You can ask him. I am asking you. Jonah's gaze returned to mine. Yes. Marcus would agree. There was complete certainty in his answer. I hated the small spark of jealousy it created. Jonah and Marcus had built their lives together. They had shared bank accounts, offices, failures, and victories before Micah and I had played our first chord. I was not attracted to either of them then. That was what I told myself. I only resented the security of their bond. It had nothing to do with the way Jonah's voice lowered when he spoke to me alone. It had nothing to do with the way Marcus always found Micah first in a crowded room. It certainly had nothing to do with the way both alphas looked at both of us when they thought we were too busy singing to notice. Our single was released on a Tuesday. By Wednesday morning, it had been played more than 80,000 times. By Friday, the number passed 500,000. The following week, Silas Vane called. Silas owned Vane Live, the largest independent concert promotion company in the region. He wore bright suits, spoke in intimate whispers, and remembered everyone's birthday because assistants sent him reminders. He invited us to lunch at a restaurant where none of the prices were printed on the menu. Priya came. Jonah and Marcus came. Silas spent the first 10 minutes pretending not to know our streaming numbers. Then he proposed a 20-city tour. Micah nearly dropped his water. Priya asked for projected venue capacity. Jonah requested the settlement structure. Marcus asked who controlled local security. I asked who owned the recordings. Silas smiled at me. You do, of course. Then why is there a catalog valuation attached to your proposal? His smile shifted. It became more interested. Collateral assessment. For what? Tour advances. We did not request an advance. Every serious tour has risk. Then Vane Live can take the risk from its promoter percentage. Silas leaned back. You are protective of your songs. They are ours. Reed Cole has a reputation for protecting artists from profitable opportunities. Jonah did not react. Marcus did. His smile remained, but the warmth left it. We protect artists from people who confuse profitable with predatory. Silas laughed. Good. I like a strong negotiating table. He removed the catalog clause before dessert. We signed a limited promotion agreement 2 weeks later. Vane Live handled venue booking, ticket processing, and local advertising. Reed Cole handled production, tour management, and security. Frost Lane retained every music right. The agreement required Vane Live to provide weekly ticket reports. It also allowed them to recover approved promotional expenses from tour revenue. Elena reviewed every page. Priya built a tracking sheet. Jonah created a separate account for tour income. Marcus inspected the first 5 venues personally. We believed we had closed every door Silas could use. We did not realize he had already hired someone to make new keys. The tour began in a theater with 900 seats. 780 people came. I remember the exact number because Marcus told me twice. The second show sold out. The third added a late performance. By the 5th city, people were waiting behind venues with handmade signs. Some signs asked Micah to marry them. Some asked me to step on them. One asked Priya to become president. Priya took that sign home. Jonah stayed near the soundboard during every show. Marcus moved between backstage corridors and the audience. He learned the names of every local guard. He learned which fans had medical needs. He carried spare ear protection, suppressant patches, water, and protein bars. Micah began calling him the tour father. Marcus objected. You are 26. Fathers can have adult children. I am 32. That is old in touring years. Marcus looked at me. Control your partner. I have been trying for 5 years. Micah grinned and leaned into my shoulder. Something moved in Marcus's expression. It disappeared quickly. Jonah noticed. He always noticed. That night, after the show, Jonah changed our hotel arrangements. Instead of placing Micah and me in a shared suite across the hall from the Alphas, he booked 4 adjoining rooms. I found him in the corridor holding the key cards. Why? Privacy. We have shared rooms for years. You are not required to continue. Did Marcus ask you to separate us? Jonah's eyes narrowed. No. Did you? No. Then what happened? He looked toward Micah's door. Marcus believes Micah has been avoiding him. I stared. Marcus told you that? Marcus tells me most things. The jealousy came back. This time it had teeth. And you rearranged an entire floor because Marcus feels rejected? I rearranged 4 rooms because none of us has discussed what is happening. What is happening? Jonah stepped closer. Not close enough to touch. Close enough for his controlled scent to curl around the edges of mine. You know. I want to hear you say it. His eyes lowered to my mouth. Marcus wants Micah. I forced myself to breathe. And you? Jonah's gaze rose. That is not the only question. Answer it anyway. He was silent for so long that the hotel air conditioner switched off. The corridor became completely still. I want both of you, he said. My pulse jumped. Jonah's hands remained at his sides. He did not use his scent. He did not step closer. Marcus does too, he continued. Micah appears to want both of us. You are the only person whose intentions I cannot confirm. You make attraction sound like an audit. An audit would be simpler. What about you and Marcus? We are family. That is not an answer. It is the answer we have. I took the key card from his hand. What happens if Micah chooses Marcus? Nothing he does not choose. And if I choose you? Jonah's controlled expression cracked for half a second. Then it returned. Nothing you do not choose. I should have entered my room. Instead, I asked, what if none of us wants 2 separate couples? The metallic edge in Jonah's scent deepened. You should not ask me that in a public corridor. Why? Because I am trying to remain respectful. My mouth went dry. The elevator opened behind him. Priya walked out, carrying 3 bags of vending machine snacks. She looked from Jonah to me. No, neither of us spoke. Priya pointed at our doors. Whatever catastrophic arrangement your hormones are proposing, discuss it after tomorrow's sound check. Jonah handed her a key card. Room 612. Why do I have my own room? Privacy. Priya examined him. You are all exhausting. She entered her room. The door closed. Jonah and I stood alone again. You should sleep, he said. So should you. I will. Liar. The corner of his mouth moved. It was the first time I saw him nearly smile. I entered my room before I did something reckless. Micah came through the connecting door 11 minutes later. He was wearing soft gray sweatpants and carrying a pillow. You have your own room, I said. I know. Then why are you here? Marcus thinks I am avoiding him. I sat up. Jonah told me. Marcus told Jonah. Jonah told you. You are telling me. This group needs a better communication system. What did Marcus say to you? Nothing. That is the problem? He keeps looking at me like he wants to say something. Then he asks whether I packed enough socks. That is his love language. Emergency preparation? Possibly. Micah sat beside me. His honey and cedar scent filled the quiet room. Jonah told you, did he not? Told me what? That they want us. I looked at him. You do not seem surprised. I asked Marcus last week. You asked him what? Whether he wanted to kiss you. I stared at my partner. Micah hugged the pillow to his chest. He almost walked into a lighting rig. Why would you ask Marcus if he wanted to kiss me? Because he was staring at your mouth. What did he say? He said it was not his place to discuss your mouth with me. That is disappointingly responsible. Then he asked whether you and I were together. I swallowed. What did you tell him? The truth. The truth was complicated. Micah and I had kissed before. We had slept curled around each other through winter power failures and terrible hotel nights. We had shared clothes, food, money, secrets, and every important decision of our adult lives. We loved each other. We had never chosen a word for that love. Neither of us had wanted a label that might damage the music. That excuse sounded increasingly weak. What truth? I asked. That you are mine in every way except the ways you have not chosen. My throat tightened. Micah touched my wrist. You are not trapped, Dylan. I know. If you want Jonah, I will not feel replaced. What if I want Marcus too? His expression softened. Then we finally agree on something. And what if they always choose each other first? Micah considered that. They probably will sometimes. That does not bother you? You choose me first sometimes. That is different. Why? Because we are Frost Lane, and they are Reed Cole. There it was. Two names joined together. Two partnerships entering a room with histories already written. The fear was not that we would form two couples. The fear was that we would become two existing pairs pretending to be four. Micah rested his head on my shoulder. We do not have to decide tonight. I looked at the connecting door between our rooms. Did you bring the pillow because you wanted comfort? No. Why did you bring it? Marcus said separate rooms might help us establish boundaries. And I am rebelling. I laughed quietly. Micah smiled. We slept in my bed without crossing any new line. The next morning, Marcus discovered us there and tried not to look hurt. Micah threw the pillow at him. Marcus caught it against his chest. What was that for? Thinking a hotel wall could establish my boundaries for me. Marcus looked at me. I shrugged. You should know better. His warm scent loosened. Breakfast in 20 minutes. Micah remained in the doorway. Marcus. Yes? Do you want to kiss Dylan? Marcus froze. I closed my eyes. Micah. We need a better communication system. Marcus looked at me. His face had gone red beneath his tan skin. I am not answering a question about Dylan without Dylan's permission. You have my permission, I said. Marcus's eyes widened slightly. Then he looked at Micah. Yes. Micah nodded. Do you want to kiss me? Yes. Does Jonah know? Yes. Does Jonah want to kiss both of us? Marcus glanced toward the corridor as if hoping Jonah might arrive and rescue him. Jonah did not. Yes. Micah turned to me. Your turn. I stood. Marcus remained completely still. I want to kiss all three of you, I said. I do not know what I want after that. Marcus's expression became painfully tender. That is enough information for today. You are not going to kiss me. You said you did not know what you wanted after. I know what I want before. His breath changed. He looked at Micah. Micah nodded. Marcus approached me slowly. He stopped within reach. May I? Yes. His hand rose toward my face. He waited. I leaned into his palm. Only then did he kiss me. It was warm, careful, and far gentler than a man his size had any right to be. He pulled back before I wanted him to. Micah caught his shirt and kissed him next. Marcus made a surprised sound. I laughed against my hand. Then Jonah opened the door. He carried 4 coffees in a cardboard tray. His gaze moved from Marcus's flushed face to Micah's fingers curled in Marcus's shirt. Then he looked at me. The coffee tray remained perfectly level. I see the communication system has improved. It became more direct, Marcus said. Jonah handed Priya's coffee to Marcus. Take this to her before she comes looking for it. Marcus understood the dismissal. He left with Micah, though Micah glanced back twice. Jonah placed my coffee on the table. What happened? I kissed Marcus. I can see that. Are you angry? No. Jealous? Yes. The immediate honesty struck harder than anger would have. Of Marcus. Of both of you. You knew he wanted us. Knowledge does not eliminate feeling. Do you want to kiss me? Jonah's eyes darkened. Yes. Then why are you standing over there? Because you kissed Marcus less than 2 minutes ago. That matters? It may matter to you. It does not. It may matter later. You think too much. You think too little. I crossed the room. Jonah did not move. When I stopped in front of him, his scent tightened so sharply that the air seemed colder. I am thinking now, I said. About what? Whether you will always let Marcus act first. Something flashed in his eyes. That is not what happened. Then prove it. His hand closed around the edge of the table behind him. Dylan, do you need my permission? Yes. You have it. Do you want me to kiss you because you want me, or because Marcus kissed you first? The question cut through my challenge. I looked at his mouth, then his eyes. Both. Jonah considered that answer. Then he touched my jaw with 2 fingers. The restraint in the gesture made my knees feel weaker than Marcus's strength had. Jonah leaned close enough for our breath to mix. He stopped before our lips met. You can change your mind. I know. You can tell me to stop. I know. You can choose Marcus and Micah without choosing me. I caught the front of his shirt. Jonah. Yes? Stop making it easy to trust you. Something broke in his expression. Then he kissed me. Jonah did not kiss like Marcus. Marcus offered warmth and waited for me to enter it. Jonah kissed as though he had built a locked room inside himself and I had just turned the key. His hand remained against my jaw. His other hand did not touch me. When he pulled away, both of us were breathing too quickly. He rested his forehead against mine. This cannot affect the contract, he said. Romantic. I am serious. I know. Your career cannot depend on access to either of us. It does not. If this becomes public, people will say it does. People already say Micah only has a career because he is beautiful. They are wrong. People will be wrong about this too. Jonah's thumb moved once against my skin. I need written boundaries. I laughed. You want a relationship agreement? I want clarity. You want signatures. I like signatures. That would also return to haunt him. Our first boundary conversation took place that evening in a locked rehearsal room. Priya attended for the first 10 minutes. She made us state that no romantic disagreement could affect tour decisions. She made Jonah and Marcus agree that either would step away from a business decision involving a personal conflict. She made Micah and me promise not to use her as a messenger. Then she left. The 4 of us sat in a circle. Marcus looked more nervous than he had while evacuating a venue during a fire alarm. Micah took my hand. Jonah opened a notebook. I stared at it. You brought minutes. I brought paper. To record minutes. To prevent misunderstandings. Marcus touched Jonah's knee. Close the notebook. Jonah hesitated. Then he closed it. We talked without writing anything down. No one was automatically entitled to anyone else's time. No pair would be treated as the central relationship. Private connections were allowed. Group affection was allowed. Jealousy was not a moral failure, but it had to be spoken before it became punishment. No one would use alpha pressure during an argument. No one would use omega vulnerability to avoid accountability. The band contract remained separate. The company remained separate. Consent had to be active, specific, and reversible. We did not decide what to call ourselves. Micah suggested a quartet. I told him that sounded like a string ensemble. Marcus suggested a pack. I rejected it because I did not want biology defining the arrangement. Jonah said we did not need a word immediately. That was the answer we accepted. For the next month, we lived in fragments. Marcus kissed Micah behind a theater after Micah admitted he was afraid of crowds. Jonah spent an entire night helping me rewrite a song and fell asleep with his head on my shoulder. I woke with his scent wrapped around me and did not move for an hour. Micah began joining Jonah in the production booth. Jonah taught him how to build arrangements without burying his guitar. Marcus took me running early in the mornings because panic had begun waking me before dawn. Priya watched all of this with increasing disapproval. "You have formed the least efficient romantic structure possible," she said. "We are not a structure," Micah replied. "You share 3 calendars. That is because Jonah made them." Jonah looked up from his tablet. "Scheduling prevents resentment." Priya pointed at him. "You are the reason this feels like a regional transport authority." Despite her complaints, the music improved. Our performances became more confident. The audience grew. Vane Live added larger venues. Silas sent expensive champagne after our first sold-out show. Marcus inspected the bottle before allowing anyone to drink it. Jonah refused because he wanted to review the recording. Micah poured his glass into Jonah's coffee mug. Jonah drank half before noticing. His offended expression made me laugh so hard I missed the next interview. Those were the weeks I remember most clearly. They were also the weeks Silas began stealing from us. The first false report arrived after the 9th show. It claimed the venue had sold 68% of its available tickets. Priya frowned at the number. The room looked full. "People stand closer near the stage," Silas's accountant explained. Priya asked for scanner data. The accountant sent a spreadsheet showing hundreds of complimentary tickets. Marcus asked who had authorized them. The spreadsheet listed local radio promotions. Jonah requested copies of the agreements. Silas sent them 2 days later. Everything appeared legitimate. At the next venue, Priya photographed every occupied section before the lights went down. The report still showed 71% attendance. This time, Vane Live blamed obstructed view seats and technical holds. The explanations were plausible enough to survive separate inspection. Together, they formed a pattern. Priya began keeping her own count. Marcus told security to record scanner totals. Jonah requested direct settlement statements from venues. 3 venues refused, claiming their contracts allowed them to communicate only through Vane Live. Silas called me personally. "Your managers are slowing payments with unnecessary questions." Accurate numbers are not unnecessary. I agree. That is why my company employs professionals. So does ours. There was a pause. "Ours," Silas repeated. I heard the amusement in his voice. "What?" "Nothing. I admire loyalty. You sound like you are diagnosing it. I am wondering whether your loyalty is directed toward your band or toward the 2 alphas sleeping near it." My grip tightened around the phone. "That is none of your business." It becomes my business when personal relationships interfere with commercial decisions. They are asking for ticket counts. They are preparing to accuse me of fraud. Are you committing fraud? Silas laughed softly. Careful, Dylan. Jonah Reed has survived by making artists feel protected. Marcus Cole has survived by making them feel safe. Ask yourself what they receive in return. He ended the call. I told myself his words did not matter. Then my phone buzzed again. Caleb had posted a photograph. My ex stood outside our hotel with an arm around a popular singer. The caption read, "Some people earn tours with music. Other people find powerful alphas." He did not use my name. He did not need to. Within an hour, rumor accounts had found photographs of Jonah touching my back. They found video of Marcus carrying Micah away from a crowded exit. They found clips of all four of us entering the same hotel elevator. By afternoon, the phrase Frost Lane management benefits was trending. Silas called Jonah and suggested canceling our next public appearance. Jonah refused. Marcus increased security. Priya wanted to confront Caleb. Micah's mother wanted to sue him. I wanted to disappear. Instead, I walked onto a televised festival stage in front of 20,000 people. For the first two songs, the crowd was ours. During the third, someone near the front lifted a sign. "Who did you sleep with for the tour?" Marcus reached the barricade before I finished reading it. He removed the sign without touching the person holding it. The crowd began shouting. Some defended us. Others repeated the accusation. My scent spiked. Jonah's voice came through my in-ear monitor. "Dylan, look at me." He was beside the soundboard. Even at a distance, I could identify the rigid line of his body. "You control the stage," he said. "No one else." Micah moved closer. His shoulder touched mine. Priya tapped her sticks together. I looked at the crowd. Then I removed my guitar. The shouting grew louder. I walked to the front of the stage. "My name is Dylan Frost." The noise shifted. "My partner is Micah Lane. Our drummer is Priya Nair. We wrote every song you heard tonight." Someone shouted a question about Jonah. I continued. "Our contracts state that we own our music. Our private relationships do not change that ownership." The crowd reacted. I could not tell whether it was support or anger. If you believe an omega cannot work beside an alpha without exchanging access for opportunity, that says more about what you expect from powerful men than it says about me. The venue became quieter. Micah joined me at the front. "We will finish the show," I said. "Anyone who came for the songs is welcome to stay." We finished. The final chorus was louder than any crowd we had heard before. Backstage, I made it 6 steps before my knees failed. Marcus caught me. He lowered us both to the floor without lifting me. His body blocked the corridor. His scent remained controlled. "You were magnificent," he said. I nearly dropped the guitar. "You did not." I could not breathe. "You kept breathing." Micah knelt beside us. Jonah arrived last. He had stopped to order the press away from the backstage entrance. His face was pale with anger. "Caleb's post was coordinated," he said. "How do you know?" I asked. "It went live 3 minutes after Vane Live sent festival credentials to several rumor accounts." Marcus looked up. "Silas, we cannot prove it yet." The door opened. Priya stepped inside carrying the offensive sign. On the back was a printed sponsor label. Vane Live Fan Engagement Team. The public humiliation had not been spontaneous. Someone had printed it, carried it through a staff entrance, and placed it in front of our stage. Marcus stood. His warmth vanished. "I am going to speak to Silas." Jonah moved between him and the door. "No. Move. You are angry. Yes. You will give him evidence that our personal involvement is affecting company decisions." He targeted them. I know. He used an omega shaming campaign inside a venue we trusted him to secure. I know. Marcus's scent pressed against Jonah's control. The corridor seemed smaller. Micah rose. "Marcus." Marcus looked at him. Micah held out his hand. "Stay." The alpha's anger broke. Not disappeared. Broke into something more painful. Marcus took Micah's hand and lowered his forehead against it. "I am sorry. You did not print the sign. I promised you would be safe. You kept me safe. Dylan stood up because you made room for him to choose." Marcus closed his eyes. Jonah looked at me. I recognized the fear behind his restraint. Time. Silas wanted them to lose control. He wanted proof that our relationship compromised the company. He wanted us ashamed and defensive. I pushed myself to my feet. "We investigate," I said. Marcus lifted his head. "No public accusations without proof. No private retaliation. We find out what he is doing." Jonah nodded. "You should step away from the investigation." "Why?" "Because you are a target. That is why I am staying." "Dylan, no, you do not protect me by excluding me." Jonah's jaw tightened. "He may release private information. Then I need to know what he has. He may attack your relationship with Micah. Then Micah and I answer together. He may attack us." I looked at both alphas. Then all four of us answer. That was the first time I spoke of us as four without hesitation. It should have brought us closer. Instead, it revealed the fracture already forming. Jonah and Marcus began holding meetings without Micah and me. They said the discussions involved company liability. They changed passwords to the tour accounts. They asked Reed Cole's lawyer to review every agreement. Marcus moved 2 security officers onto our bus. Jonah canceled 3 interviews. Each decision could be defended separately. Together, they felt like a wall. Micah noticed my anger. They are scared, he said. They are taking control. They are trying to stop Silas. They are deciding what we are allowed to know. Then tell them. I should not have to fight for information about my own tour. Micah watched me pace the hotel room. You think they are choosing the company? They are choosing each other. That is not the same thing. It becomes the same when they close the door. Our argument ended when Elena called. Micah answered on speaker. I received a settlement statement, she said. Jonah looked up from his laptop. You should not receive tour settlements. I know. Who sent it? There is no return address. It was delivered to my accounting office in a vain live envelope. Priya leaned closer to the phone. What show? Bellwether Hall. That was 3 weeks ago. Elena turned pages. It reports 412 paid tickets. Priya opened her spreadsheet. Marcus's scanner log shows 890. The room became silent. Jonah held out his hand. Send me every page. There is something else, Elena said. The report lists a marketing advance from Reed Cole Music. We did not take one. It includes your signature. Jonah stopped moving. Marcus came to his side. How much? He asked. $180,000. Jonah's face emptied. I had learned that his coldest expression did not mean he felt nothing. It meant he felt too much. Send it now, he said. The file arrived. We crowded around the laptop. The signature looked perfect. Jonah enlarged it. It is mine. Micah frowned. You just said you did not sign it. I did not. Then it is not yours. The signature image came from a real document. Jonah opened our original management contract. He placed the 2 signatures beside each other. Every line matched. Someone had copied his electronic signature from the agreement that created our partnership. Marcus checked the second authorization page. His signature appeared there too. The forged report claimed Reed Cole had borrowed money against future tour revenue. A final clause stated that if the advance was not repaid, Vane Live could claim assets pledged by the management company. The listed assets included our recordings. My stomach turned. You told us you could never use our catalog as collateral, I said. We cannot, Jonah replied. The report says you did. The report is false. Your signatures are on it. So are yours. I stared at the page. My name appeared below a consent statement. Micah's appeared beside it. Both had been copied from the same management agreement. 4 signatures, 1 lie. Marcus looked at me. You know we did not sign this. I wanted to say yes. I wanted trust to be automatic. Instead, I remembered the closed meetings. The changed passwords. The decisions made without us. Show me the tour account, I said. Jonah's eyes sharpened. What? You changed the password. Open it. Dylan. Open the account. Marcus turned the laptop toward me. Jonah placed his hand over the keyboard. There is confidential company information attached to the account. Our songs are listed as collateral. They are not legally collateral. Then show me. Jonah did not move. The silence became an answer, even though it should not have been one. I stepped back. Micah caught my arm. Dylan. They said this could never happen. It has not happened, Jonah said. A document says it has. A forged document. You are asking me to trust that while refusing to show me the money. Jonah closed the laptop. I will not expose other artists' financial information because Silas manufactured a crisis. There is always a reason. What does that mean? It means the company comes first. Marcus moved toward me. I raised a hand. He stopped immediately. I need air. You cannot leave alone, he said. I am not asking permission. There are reporters outside. I will take security. I am security? You are also part of the problem. The words hurt him. I saw it. I left anyway. Priya followed me. We crossed the arena loading dock and entered the equipment trailer. It smelled like cables, dust, and cold metal. I sat on a speaker case. Priya closed the door. You are wrong, she said. I laughed bitterly. Thank you. You are also right. That is less useful. They should have given us information before changing access. You are wrong to believe the forged report simply because Jonah protects other clients. I do not believe it. You are acting like you do. I believe they could choose Reed Cole over Frost Lane. Of course they could. I looked at her. Priya sat across from me. You and Micah could choose Frost Lane over them. That is different. No, it only feels different because you trust your own motives. I stared at the floor. She continued. You are afraid Jonah and Marcus have a room you cannot enter. They do. So do you and Micah. We never lock ours. You locked it the moment they arrived. That accusation landed too close to the truth. I rubbed both hands over my face. What am I supposed to do? Investigate the document. Apologize for accusing them before the evidence supports it. Then demand a governance structure that does not require romantic trust. You sound like Elena. I have been studying her methods. My phone buzzed. The message came from Caleb. I know who printed the sign. Priya saw the screen. Do not meet him alone. I know. I mean it. I said I know. I said I know. Your history suggests knowledge and behavior are separate departments. Caleb wanted to meet at an all-night diner near the arena. Marcus insisted on driving. Jonah remained behind to trace the signatures. Micah came because he did not trust Caleb. Priya came because she did not trust any of us. We occupied an entire corner booth. Caleb arrived wearing a wool coat that cost more than our first van. He stopped when he saw Marcus. I asked for Dylan. Marcus smiled without warmth. Dylan brought witnesses. Caleb looked at Micah. You always did travel as a pair. Micah's scent sharpened. Sit down. Caleb sat. He removed a phone from his pocket. Silas's publicist contacted me 2 months ago. Why? I asked. She said Vane Live wanted to sponsor a reunion performance. You believed that? I wanted to believe it. The honesty made me pause. Caleb looked down. She asked questions about your contract. She wanted to know whether you and Micah were dating. She wanted old photographs. Did you give them to her? Some. Marcus's hand tightened around his coffee cup. Caleb noticed. They were photographs from public performances. You posted the accusation, Micah said. I posted what she wrote. That is not better. I know. Why are you here? I asked. Caleb slid the phone across the table. Because she sent me the photograph of the sign before the festival began. The message timestamp was visible. The image had been sent 40 minutes before we walked on stage. Below it, the publicist had written, "This should force Reed Cole to overreact. Post your caption, when the crowd starts filming." Marcus read the line twice. His face changed. Caleb looked at me. They said Jonah and Marcus were using you. They showed me financial reports. The forged reports? I did not know they were forged. You wanted to believe them. His eyes lifted. Yes? Because you were worried about me? Because I was jealous? At least he did not lie. Caleb's hands closed around each other. I left because I thought you would never become successful. Then you did it without me. You left because you were ashamed of struggling. I know. And when Silas offered you a way to make our success look dirty, you accepted. I know. Micah looked ready to throw the table. I touched his knee. Caleb continued. The publicist also asked me to sign a statement claiming you once traded access for bookings. Marcus stood so quickly that the table moved. Caleb recoiled. Marcus stepped back at once. He placed both hands where we could see them. Did you sign it? No. Where is it? In the phone. Priya took the device. She forwarded the messages to Elena and Jonah. Will you testify? I asked. Caleb stared at me. Publicly? Yes. His scent filled with fear. Vane Live could end his corporate singing contracts. Silas could make him unemployable. I understood the choice in front of him because I had faced it on the festival stage. Caleb had hurt me. That did not make courage easier for him. I will give a written statement, he said. Publicly, I repeated. I need time. We do not have time. Marcus sat again. You have until tomorrow morning. Caleb looked at him. Is that a threat? No, it is the deadline before Vane Live files a claim against the catalog. Caleb's face drained. They told me the transfer had already happened. That is what they want everyone to believe, I said. We left with the phone records, but not Caleb's promise. On the drive back, Micah sat beside Marcus in front. Priya took another car with security. I sat alone in the back. Marcus glanced at me through the mirror. You should sleep. I am not tired. You have been awake for 19 hours. Do you count everything? Jonah counts, I notice. Micah turned in his seat. Dylan. I am fine. No, you are performing fine. The difference hurt. Marcus pulled into an empty service area. The arena was still an hour away. Rain hammered the windshield. Why are we stopping? I asked. Because you are not fine, Marcus said. I did not ask you to stop. No, Micah did. I looked at Micah. He unfastened his seatbelt. We need the bus. What bus? The one Marcus promised. This is not the time. It is exactly the time. Marcus exchanged a glance with him. Then he drove behind the dark service station. A silver tour bus waited beneath the lights. I stared through the rain. You bought it. Marcus looked almost nervous. We leased it. Micah opened the door before the vehicle fully stopped. He ran through the rain. Marcus swore and followed with an umbrella. By the time I reached the bus, Micah was already inside. The interior smelled like new fabric, polished wood, and Marcus's warm scent. There was a small kitchen. There was a table. There was a wide shared seating area. A narrow corridor led toward the back. Micah opened the first door. Bedroom 1. He opened the second. Bedroom 2. The third. Bedroom 3. Then he reached the final section. There were only 3 bedrooms. The rest of the space had been designed as an equipment closet. Micah stared at it. Marcus lowered the umbrella. The layout was ordered before everything changed. Micah stepped into the empty space. It can be converted. To what? A 4th bedroom. My heart reacted before my mind did. Marcus looked toward me. The bus suddenly felt too quiet. Micah removed a pen from the kitchen drawer. He found the lease documents in a cabinet. On the blank back page, he began drawing. 4 rooms, he said. Equal size. Marcus moved closer. The rear wheel housing limits this section. Then move the storage. We need equipment space. Underfloor compartments. The generator occupies 1. Put Jonah's unnecessary emergency coffee machine there. Marcus smiled. That may be the first unacceptable sacrifice. I remained near the door. Micah drew a square in the center. 1 shared living room. Marcus watched the pen. For rehearsals. For us. The rain intensified. My omega scent rose with exhaustion. I felt it before anyone reacted. Marcus stepped away to give me space. Micah stopped drawing. Your patch. I touched my upper arm. The suppressant patch had peeled loose beneath my damp shirt. It was not dangerous. My heat was not due for weeks. Stress and fatigue had simply weakened the medication. Even so, Marcus's alpha scent tightened immediately. He opened a window vent. Jonah keeps spare patches in the medical cabinet. I found the cabinet empty. Marcus frowned. That was stocked yesterday. Micah checked the other compartments. The suppressant case was gone. So are the scent neutralizers, he said. Marcus's expression hardened. Security inspected this bus. Who had access afterward? I asked. Vane Live's transport crew. The missing supplies changed the atmosphere. Someone had removed medication from a vehicle intended for 2 Omegas. Marcus called Jonah. There was no answer. He called security. The storm had disrupted service around the highway. Only emergency calls were connecting. We returned to the car, Marcus said. Micah looked outside. Rainwater had risen across the service road. The smaller vehicle sat on the other side of a rapidly deepening stream. Marcus checked the bus controls. The bus is heavy enough to remain stable. Crossing in the car would be dangerous. So we stay here, I said. Until the water drops. My scent continued spreading. Marcus moved to the far end of the living room. He opened every vent. Micah found an old portable neutralizer in his guitar case, but the battery was nearly dead. Marcus placed his coat over the back of a chair. I can wait outside. In the storm? Micah asked. The awning provides cover. You are not standing outside all night. Your safety matters more than my comfort. My safety includes not worrying that you will be struck by lightning. Marcus looked at me. What do you need? It was the correct question. Not what was wrong with me. Not what he should do. What did I need? I need both of you to stop treating my scent like an emergency. Marcus nodded. All right. I need the doors unlocked. He unlocked them. I need you to stay where I can see you. He returned to the living room, moving slowly. Micah sat beside me. His own scent had begun warming in response to mine. Not heat. Not biology taking control. Just 2 exhausted Omegas reacting to stress, closeness, and the men we wanted. Marcus remained several feet away. His hands rested openly on his knees. You can ask me to leave at any time, he said. I know. You can call security. There is no service. The emergency connection works. I know. Micah leaned his head against my shoulder. I want Jonah here. The admission hurt all 3 of us. Marcus looked toward the dark window. So do I. That was when I understood something I had been refusing to see. Marcus did not simply arrive with Jonah attached to his history. He needed Jonah. Micah needed me. I needed Micah. None of those bonds diminished the new ones. They only made the room more complicated. I looked at Marcus. Come closer. He moved to the opposite end of the couch. Closer. He sat within reach. His scent stayed restrained. Micah took one of his hands. I took the other. Marcus exhaled. The 3 of us sat together while rain struck the roof. 20 minutes later, headlights appeared outside. Jonah entered the bus soaked through, furious, and carrying a medical case. He stopped when he saw our joined hands. Relief crossed his face before jealousy could hide it. He locked the door behind him. The road is closed, he said. We are here until morning. Marcus stood. Jonah crossed the room and gripped the back of his neck. They pressed their foreheads together. No one spoke. Their reunion was private even while we watched. Micah looked at me. I understood the question in his eyes. Did seeing Jonah and Marcus choose each other make me feel excluded? For once, the answer was no. It made me want to enter the circle without breaking it. Jonah replaced my suppressant patch only after asking permission. His fingers did not touch more skin than necessary. Marcus gave Micah a neutralizing strip. The bus filters began working again. The immediate problem passed. The emotional one remained. Jonah saw the drawing on the back of the lease. 4 bedrooms, he said. Micah nodded. 1 for each of us. Jonah traced the shared living room with 1 finger. What does this mean? It means I am tired of pretending we are waiting to discover whether this is real. Jonah looked at me. I hated that everyone still waited for my fear. I do not want to be included in your company as a romantic benefit, I said. You are not, Marcus replied. I do not want Frost Lane absorbed into Reed Cole. It will not be, Jonah said. I do not want decisions happening behind locked doors. Jonah's expression tightened. You were right about that. I do not want promises you can reverse when business becomes difficult. Marcus sat beside Micah. What do you want? I looked at the 4 rooms. I want proof that we can choose one another without owning one another. Jonah removed our original management contract from the case he had carried through the storm. He placed it on the table. This agreement can be terminated tomorrow. Micah stared at him. What? If our professional authority makes it impossible for Dylan to trust his personal choices, we end the authority. I looked at Jonah. You would drop us? No. We would transfer management to someone you select. Reed Cole would continue funding the current tour until the Vane dispute is resolved. You would lose money. Yes. Why? Because you need to know staying with us is not the price of keeping your career. Marcus nodded. The 4 rooms do not work if 2 of us hold the keys to the other 2. My eyes burned. I hated crying. Micah loved it, because he believed tears meant I had finally stopped arguing with myself. He touched my face. Jonah stayed across the table. Marcus remained beside Micah. No one surrounded me. No one pushed. I reached for Jonah first. He took my hand. Then I reached for Marcus. Micah joined us. 4 hands rested above the contract. The rain softened around the bus. Jonah asked, "What are you choosing tonight?" "Not forever," I said. "Not unless you want it. Not the company." Never the company. I looked at all 3 men. You. The air between us changed. Micah moved close enough for his breath to touch my cheek. Marcus's hand settled at my waist only after I nodded. Jonah came around the table with the same terrible restraint he had shown from the beginning. 4 private connections met in one small living room. There was no central pair. There was no automatic claim. There were only questions, permission, nervous laughter, jealous honesty, and the moment each of us chose to stop standing outside the other's locked doors. The untouched contract slipped from the table and landed beside Micah's drawing of the 4th bedroom. Jonah's voice dropped as he asked what I wanted next. I answered him. The bus lights went out when the storm struck the power line. What followed belonged to the darkness, to 4 consenting adults, and to choices too intimate for the safe version of this story. This is where the YouTube safe version has to cut away. The complete park tour bus continuation, the adult scene, and the private POVs revealing what Jonah, Marcus, Micah, and I chose behind the locked door are available on Patreon. For now, we return to the next morning. I woke on the tour bus couch beneath Marcus's coat. Micah was asleep with his head against my chest. Jonah sat on the floor beside us, reading financial reports on his tablet. Marcus stood in the small kitchen making coffee. The rain had stopped. No one spoke about the previous night immediately. Not because we regretted it, because naming it would require decisions we had only begun making. Marcus placed a mug beside Jonah. Jonah drank without looking up. Micah opened one eye. "Is that the emergency coffee machine?" "It is essential equipment," Jonah said. "You are losing your storage compartment. We will negotiate." I looked at the contract on the floor. Someone had placed it beneath Micah's bus drawing to flatten the page. 4 signatures faced 4 bedrooms. The symbol should have comforted me. Then Jonah turned the tablet around. Another forged report had arrived overnight. This one claimed Reed Cole had defaulted on the promotional advance. Vane Live demanded immediate control of Frost Lane's catalog. The deadline was midnight. The story had caught up to the moment where it began. We drove directly to the arena. Silas was waiting inside our parked tour bus when we arrived. He had used a master transport key. Marcus removed that key from his hand. "You are trespassing. I am the tour promoter. You do not own this vehicle. According to the default notice, my company may seize tour assets." "The notice is fraudulent," Jonah said. Silas looked at the four of us. His smile widened when he saw Marcus's coat around my shoulders. I wondered how long professional ethics would survive close accommodation. I removed the coat and folded it carefully. "You created the reports. That is an accusation. You copied our signatures from the management contract. A digital signature can be attached by authorized staff. No authorization exists. Then perhaps your managers exceeded their authority." Micah placed the bus plan on the table. Silas glanced at it. "Charming." "Get out," Micah said. Silas ignored him. He opened the forged agreement. "If Frost Lane performs tonight, all revenue will be directed toward the outstanding advance. If you refuse, Vane Live will claim breach and seek immediate control of the pledged catalog. You cannot claim assets Reed Cole never owned," I said. Ownership becomes complicated when artists allow managers to act as romantic partners. The insult no longer wounded me as he intended. I leaned across the table. "Our consent does not create your ownership." His smile thinned. "We will discuss that with lawyers." "No," Jonah said. "We will discuss it at the emergency arbitration hearing scheduled for 6 this evening." For the first time, Silas looked surprised. Jonah continued. "Your promotion agreement requires arbitration before asset seizure. You attempted to conceal that clause by citing an outdated appendix." Silas recovered quickly. "A hearing will confirm the debt." "Then attend." He gathered the papers. At the door, he looked at me. "Ask them who benefits if Vane Live disappears. Reed Cole gains the tour, the distribution contacts, and 2 artists too emotionally compromised to leave." The door closed behind him. His final lie was designed for me. It almost worked. Jonah began assigning tasks. Marcus would secure the venue and prevent Vane staff from removing equipment. Priya would prepare her independent ticket records. Elena would compare the financial statements. Reed Cole's lawyer would file an injunction. Micah and I were told to rest before the hearing. I interrupted. "No," Jonah stopped. "I am not resting while everyone else proves who owns our work. You need your voice tonight. We may not have a show tonight. You will. You cannot promise that." "No." "Then stop treating me like the fragile part of the plan." Marcus looked at Jonah. A silent conversation passed between them. I recognized it now. They were not excluding us. They were deciding which of them would surrender first. Jonah exhaled. "What do you want to do?" "Find the original ticket settlements. We requested them. From finance departments." "Yes." "Artists do not talk to finance departments. Artists talk to venue staff." Priya understood first. "The box office managers." I nodded. "Every venue has someone who counted the room before Vane changed the numbers." Marcus opened his contacts. "I have every venue manager's direct number." Micah took the list from him. We start calling. For 3 hours, Frost Lane became an investigation team. I called box office supervisors. Micah contacted local opening bands. Priya compared scanner logs with merchandise sales. Marcus retrieved security footage showing Vane employees bringing unregistered ticket scanners through service entrances. Jonah traced the digital certificates attached to the forged signatures. Elena examined invoice numbers. The first breakthrough came from a theater manager named Rosa Bell. She remembered our show because the fire code had forced her to stop selling tickets at full capacity. Her official settlement showed 982 paid admissions. Vane Live had reported 601. She sent the original document. The second breakthrough came from Priya. Merchandise sales were usually proportional to attendance. At every allegedly half-empty venue, our shirts and albums had sold at sold-out show levels. The third came from Micah's mother. Elena called with a note of triumph in her voice. The promotional expense invoices are duplicates. Jonah leaned toward the phone. Explain. Vane charged the same advertising purchases to 4 separate artists. Could it be a shared campaign? No. Each invoice claims exclusive placement. The serial numbers are identical, but the artist names were replaced. How much? Across the documents I have, nearly $700,000. Priya whistled. Elena continued. The forged Reed Cole advance is not money Vane paid. It is money they stole from ticket settlements and reclassified as debt. The scheme became clear. Silas had underreported ticket sales. He had hidden the missing revenue as inflated promotional expenses. Then he had created a fictional advance using the money he already owed us. The default clause was meant to convert stolen ticket income into ownership of our songs. He was not simply trying to avoid paying us. He wanted the catalog. Jonah checked the time. We can prove inaccurate reporting. We still need to connect Silas directly to the forged signatures. Caleb's testimony could do that. Caleb was not answering his phone. Marcus sent security to his hotel. He had checked out. Micah paced the bus. He ran. He is afraid, I said. He helped them humiliate you. I know. You keep defending him. I understand him. That is not the same. Jonah's computer chimed. Someone had accessed the original management agreement from a Reed Cole administrative account. The username belonged to Aiden Vale, a junior tour accountant assigned to Vane settlements. Marcus frowned. Aiden has worked for us for 2 years. Jonah called him. The number was disconnected. We searched his personnel records. His emergency contact was his younger sister. She answered Marcus's call. Aiden had disappeared 2 days earlier. Before leaving, he had transferred money to cover 6 months of her medical care. Silas had bought his cooperation, or his fear. Jonah stared at Aiden's employee photograph. I gave him access. Marcus put a hand on his shoulder. You gave him a job. I failed to monitor the account. Silas created the crime. I left the door open. I recognized the guilt. It was the same way Marcus had blamed himself for the sign. Powerful men preferred personal failure to helplessness. Failure could be punished. Helplessness had to be endured. I moved beside Jonah. Do you remember what you told me in the studio? He looked at me. Which part? You said you were removing an argument I should not have to win. His expression shifted. You do not have to win the argument that you caused someone else's crime. Aiden used my system. Then repair the system. Do not make yourself the villain because it feels more controllable. Marcus looked at me with quiet gratitude. Jonah touched my wrist. The gesture was brief. There was work to do. Priya's phone rang. She answered. Her face changed. It is Caleb. I took the phone. Where are you? Caleb's breathing came fast. Parking level beneath the arena. Why? Silas's publicist told me to meet her. She has the original authorization file. Do not approach her. She says she will delete it. Caleb, listen to me. Marcus is sending security. I already took her access card. A car horn sounded through the phone. Caleb shouted. The call ended. Marcus was moving before any of us spoke. I followed. No. He came because of me. He came because he made a choice. I am going. Marcus looked ready to argue. Then he remembered the loading dock. He handed me a security earpiece. Stay behind me. That is not the same as controlling me. No, it is my professional recommendation. Accepted. Micah came too. Jonah remained with Priya to protect the evidence and prepare the hearing. We entered the underground parking level through a staff stairwell. Marcus moved first. 2 security officers spread out behind us. We heard shouting near the far exit. Caleb stood between two parked vans. A woman in a Vane Live jacket was trying to take his phone. A driver waited inside a black car. Marcus gave a command through his radio. The security officers blocked the exits. The woman released Caleb. She turned toward us. "This is a private dispute." Marcus approached. "You are on a secured level using revoked credentials." "I work for the promoter." "You worked for the promoter until his access was suspended." Caleb ran toward me. There was blood on his lower lip. Micah caught his shoulders. "Are you hurt?" "I am fine." "You are bleeding." "She hit me with the phone." The publicist lifted both hands. "He stole company property." Caleb held up an access card. "She brought me here to sign the statement. Her tablet was open." "What did you see?" I asked. "Messages from Silas. He told her to destroy the signature source file before arbitration." The woman moved toward the black car. Marcus stepped into her path. He did not touch her. "You can leave after venue security records your identity. You cannot detain me." "No." The police responding to a reported assault can. Sirens echoed from the ramp. The driver abandoned the car and ran. One security officer followed. The publicist's confidence collapsed. Caleb gave me his phone. He had photographed the open messages. One image showed Silas instructing Aiden to export our signed contract. Another showed Silas approving the altered ticket settlements. A third contained the exact sentence we needed. "Once the default is filed, the songs become ours." Caleb leaned against a van. "I will testify." "Are you sure?" I asked. "No." That was the first brave answer he gave me. He wiped the blood from his mouth. "I am still doing it." The emergency arbitration hearing began at 6. Silas arrived with 3 lawyers. We arrived with Elena, Priya, Caleb, Rosabelle by video call, Reed Cole's attorney, and 2 police officers collecting statements about the parking incident. The hearing took place in a conference hall attached to the arena. Fans outside still did not know whether the concert would happen. Rumors spread online. Some claimed Frost Lane had broken up. Others claimed Jonah and Marcus had been arrested. One account announced Micah was secretly pregnant, which was biologically impossible under his current medical treatment and completely unrelated to anything happening. Micah read the post and looked offended. They used an unflattering photograph. Priya took his phone away. The arbitrator entered. Silas's lawyers presented the forged default first. They argued that Reed Cole had accepted a tour advance and pledged associated assets. Jonah's lawyer challenged the signatures. The digital certificate was traced to Aiden's account. Silas's attorney claimed Aiden acted with company authority. Then Caleb testified. He described the publicist's campaign. He admitted posting the insinuation about me. He showed the sign photograph sent before the festival performance. He presented the messages from the parking level. Silas did not look at him. Priya testified next. She showed scanner counts, merchandise correlations, and photographs of full venues. Rosabelle confirmed the original settlement. Elena explained the duplicate invoices and reclassified revenue. Jonah demonstrated that our contract prohibited Reed Cole from pledging the catalog. Micah and I presented our ownership records. The arbitrator examined the documents. Silas remained calm. "Even if reporting errors occurred," he said, "Reed Cole's compromised relationship with the artists makes continued management impossible. The tour should be placed under neutral administration while ownership is reviewed." There it was, his final strategy. He could not prove he owned our music. He could still separate us by claiming our relationship invalidated every decision. The arbitrator looked at me. "Mr. Frost, do you believe Reed Cole Music can continue representing your interests independently?" The room waited. Jonah did not look at me. Marcus did. His expression held no demand. Micah's hand rested beside mine, close but not touching. I thought of the closed meetings. I thought of the bus. I thought of 4 rooms and 1 shared space. I believe the current structure creates a question that should never exist, I said. Silas smiled. Jonah's face remained still. I continued. 2 people we are personally involved with should not control our professional access. Marcus lowered his eyes. The words hurt. They were also true. So you agree management is compromised? The arbitrator asked. Yes. Silas leaned toward his lawyer. I opened our original contract. That is why Jonah Reed and Marcus Cole signed a termination and rights transfer 30 minutes before this hearing. The room changed. Silas's smile disappeared. Jonah's lawyer distributed new documents. Every recording asset held administratively by Reed Cole had been transferred directly to Frost Lane Music, a company Micah and I owned equally. Reed Cole retained no catalog interest, no management option, no automatic commission beyond expenses already approved. Jonah and Marcus had removed their own professional power before asking me to defend them. The arbitrator looked at Jonah. You are surrendering the management agreement? Yes, Jonah said. Even if the Vane claim is dismissed? Yes. Why? Jonah finally looked at me. Because his choice must be real. My chest tightened. Marcus spoke next. Reed Cole will provide tour services under a temporary agreement controlled by Frost Lane. Dylan and Micah may replace us at any time. Silas stood. This is a theatrical maneuver. No, I said. It is the difference between partnership and ownership. The arbitrator called for order. The hearing continued for another hour. At 7:23, the forged default was suspended. At 7:31, Vane Live was barred from accessing our accounts, vehicles, and recordings. At 7:40, the arbitrator referred the evidence of financial fraud to authorities and ordered the disputed ticket revenue held in trust. Silas was not arrested in the conference room. Real consequences were slower than dramatic stories suggested. He did leave through a service exit surrounded by cameras, abandoned by 2 of his lawyers, while Caleb gave a public statement admitting his role in the smear campaign. The concert began 90 minutes late. No one left. Before we walked on stage, Jonah handed me the original management contract. All 4 signatures remained on the final page. Across the top, he had written, "Terminated by mutual consent." You kept your promise, I said. Which one? That we would keep our music. You kept it. You refused to sign the transfer. You signed away your company's control. It was never supposed to matter more than your choice. Marcus joined us. Micah carried the bus drawing. Priya waited near the stage entrance, tapping one drumstick against her leg. The audience began chanting our names. Jonah looked toward the soundboard. I should go. I caught his sleeve. You are still producing tonight. The temporary service agreement has not been signed. Do you need everything on paper? Yes. Micah placed the bus drawing against the wall. Then he turned it over. On the blank side, he wrote 4 lines. Jonah produces tonight. Marcus runs the tour tonight. Frost Lane owns the music. No one makes personal decisions until after the show. He signed beneath them. Then he gave me the pen. I signed. Marcus signed while laughing. Jonah read the page twice. Is this legally intended to be binding? Priya groaned. Sign the paper, Jonah. He signed. We performed the strongest show of our lives. The first song was the one Jonah had stopped me from forcing in the studio. The second was the melody Micah had played the day we met. During the third, Priya's image appeared on the arena screen and the crowd chanted for her to become president. Caleb watched from the side of the stage with a police liaison. Elena watched from the front row. Marcus moved through the venue, protecting the audience without trying to control it. Jonah stood at the soundboard and heard everything. During the final song, Micah and I stepped away from our microphones. The audience sang the chorus for us. For a moment, Our music belonged to everyone and no one. It could be shared without being surrendered. After the encore, we returned to the tour bus. The vain live logos had already been removed. Our equipment was secured. The forged contract remained sealed as evidence. The original management agreement rested on the table beside the document transferring every music right to Micah and me. Marcus opened a bottle of champagne he had inspected personally. Priya accepted one glass. Then she announced that she was leaving, before our emotional decision-making destroyed her evening. Elena hugged Micah. She hugged me. She shook Marcus's hand. Then she surprised Jonah by kissing his cheek. "You did the correct thing," she told him. Jonah looked more shaken by her approval than he had by the arbitration hearing. Caleb stopped at the bus door. "I am sorry," he said. I believed him. Forgiveness was a different decision. "I hope you become someone who would not do it again," I replied. "So do I." He left. Priya followed Elena toward the cars. The four of us remained. No managers, no clients, no promoter, no audience. Micah unfolded a new sheet of paper. The bus plan had changed. There were 4 equal bedrooms. Jonah's unnecessary coffee machine had been moved into the shared kitchen. Storage had been placed beneath the floor. The center of the bus contained 1 living room with a square table and 4 chairs. Marcus studied the measurements. "You spoke to the conversion company." "This morning," Micah said, "while we were investigating fraud. I can do 2 things. You cannot answer messages while holding a guitar. That is different." Jonah touched the room marked with his name. "You made these equal." Micah looked at him. "Of course. The rear room could have been larger." "Why should it be?" "Marcus needs more space." Marcus frowned. "I do not. You bring 6 security cases. They can go under the floor." Micah smiled. "Exactly." I stood near the bus door. The fear returned quietly. It no longer told me Jonah and Marcus would steal our songs. It no longer told me Micah would leave me behind. It asked a simpler question. What happened when the crisis ended? Jonah noticed me watching the exit. "You do not have to stay tonight." Marcus nodded. "The transfer is complete. The tour services can be reassigned tomorrow." Micah held the plan against his chest. "No one is asking for forever." They were giving me an open door again. That was how they had loved me from the beginning, not by locking me inside. By making certain I was free before asking me to remain. I walked to the table. I placed the terminated management contract beneath the new bus plan. The 4 old signatures showed through the thin paper. Once, those signatures had represented power. Then they had been copied and turned into weapons. Now the contract had no control left to give. Only history. Only proof of what we had survived. Marcus offered me a key to the bus. It was not the equipment garage key he had given Micah 6 months earlier. This one opened the front door and all 4 private rooms. "There are 4 copies," he said. "Equal access?" "Equal access to shared areas. Private rooms locked separately." Jonah added, "No one enters another room without permission." Micah held up his own key. "1 living room." I looked at the 3 men waiting for my answer. Micah, who had chosen me before there was anything profitable to choose. Marcus, who protected open doors instead of claiming the people behind them. Jonah, who had surrendered power rather than ask love to survive beneath it. I closed my fingers around the key. Then I stepped onto the bus. Micah smiled. Marcus's eyes closed with relief. Jonah remained still. He was waiting for the part I had not said. Whether stepping inside meant 1 night, whether it meant the next tour, whether it meant 4 separate rooms, whether it meant the shared living room, whether I was ready to name what we had become. I walked toward him. I placed the key in his palm and closed his fingers around it. "Ask me again when the door is closed," I whispered. Jonah's composure finally broke. Marcus reached for the bus controls. Micah unfolded the 4-bedroom plan. The door began sliding shut. And that is where the YouTube-safe version ends. The contract was terminated, the forged accounts were exposed, and our music finally belonged completely to Frost Lane. However, Dylan's real answer, the complete commitment conversation inside the parked tour bus, the uncut adult celebration between all four men, Jonah and Marcus's private alpha POVs, the truth about what happened during the storm blackout, and the independent label bonus epilogue are available on Patreon. The Patreon continuation includes every scene YouTube could not include, beginning the moment the bus door closes and Dylan tells Jonah to ask the question again. The link is in the description and pinned comment. Unlock the full continuation, adult spicy scenes, alternate POVs, real ending, and bonus epilogue now. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Because I don't make any money from YouTube, I depend entirely on paid Patreon subscriptions to keep this channel alive and continue creating content for you. I will keep posting here on YouTube, but if you want to support my work, please visit patreon.com/FelixBL. The link is the very first one in the description below. Before you go, tell me in the comments where in the world you're watching from and share your thoughts on the story.